He lost his legs, his fortune, and almost his wife. But the day a barefoot boy offered him a glowing blue drink, everything changed. "Drink this and you will walk." The millionaire thought it was poison until the impossible happened. Nathaniel Voss had once been untouchable. Billion-dollar properties, black-tie galas, a penthouse office where people waited hours just to hear him say yes. But none of that mattered now. Now he sat in a wheelchair beneath a dying maple tree in Central Park, alone, forgotten. His legs hadn't moved in 17 months. The accident had taken his spine. A drunk driver, a flipped SUV, and 1 second too late. But that's not what broke him. What broke him was what came after. His business partners slowly pulled out. His investments tanked. His voice lost power in boardrooms. And at home, his wife Elena tried her best to care for him. But she grew pale, tired, sick. It wore her down to the bone. She didn't smile anymore. She barely spoke. Her eyes carried the weight of two people now. Nathaniel watched it all unravel from a chair he couldn't escape. Every morning, he'd stare at the sky and whisper the same thing. "Why did you do this to me, God?" He clenched his fists against his motionless thighs. "You took my legs, my business, my strength. You're killing her too, piece by piece." No voice ever answered, until one day a small one did. "Thirsty, mister?" Nathaniel looked up. A young black boy, maybe 7, stood barefoot on the sidewalk. He wore faded denim overalls with one strap loose. In his hands, he held a large glass bottle filled with strange blue liquid. The sunlight made it shimmer like sapphire. Nathaniel frowned. "I'm not in the mood, kid." The boy stepped closer. "I didn't ask if you're in the mood. I asked if you're thirsty." Nathaniel gave a dry laugh. "What's in that? Some street scam? Poison?" The boy tilted his head. "No, but it's not really about the drink. It's about the belief." Nathaniel raised an eyebrow. "Belief in God," the boy said. "The one you're mad at every day." Nathaniel froze. The boy looked down at the bottle. "He didn't take everything from you. He's waiting to give something back." Nathaniel's throat tightened. "You don't know me. I know you sit here every day in a suit you don't believe in anymore," the boy replied calmly. "I know your wife cries in the pharmacy aisle because she's too proud to ask for help. I know you curse God quietly, so no one thinks you've lost control, but you lost that a long time ago." Nathaniel swallowed hard. "You talk like an old man." The boy smiled. "Maybe I've seen more than most." He held the bottle forward. "Drink this and you will walk. Then do one thing. Help children. The rest will come." Nathaniel stared at the liquid. "You expect me to believe a barefoot stranger in overalls walking around with a bottle of mouthwash blue mystery juice is somehow the answer to everything I've lost?" "No," the boy said. "I expect you to believe in God again." Silence. Nathaniel's hands trembled as he took the bottle. He turned it slowly in his palm. It was warm. The boy nodded once. "Drink it and walk." Nathaniel hesitated. Then slowly he unscrewed the cap. The smell was faint, herbal, unfamiliar, but not unpleasant. He took a small sip. Nothing happened. Then another. He closed his eyes. For a moment there was only wind in the trees, and then a flicker in his right thigh. Just a twitch. Barely anything but real. His eyes flew open. He looked down, stared at his leg. "Did I just—" He reached down and pressed the muscle. It responded softly. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't Hollywood. It was life. A tear ran down his cheek. He turned to speak, but the boy was gone. He looked left, right, stood halfway up from his wheelchair out of reflex. The boy was nowhere, just the wind and the sound of leaves. Nathaniel sat back, stunned, one hand still on his thigh. He looked at the bottle again. It was only half empty, and for the first time in nearly 2 years, he whispered something different. "Thank you." Nathaniel stayed in that park long after the boy disappeared. He sat with a half-empty bottle of blue liquid resting in his palm, his fingers trembling over it like a relic. His heart was pounding, not from fear, but awe. He had felt it, a twitch, a pulse, something. That night he didn't sleep. Back in his apartment, he lay awake beside his wife Elena, her breathing shallow and tired. She hadn't smiled in weeks. The lines on her face had grown deeper. Her shoulders hunched under the invisible weight of caring for him, holding both of them together. He stared at the ceiling, whispered, "I think I saw a miracle today." The next morning he tried again, sitting up, focusing every ounce of his mind on that same leg. And it moved. It didn't leap or kick, but it moved, and then the other followed. By the third day, he could shift in his chair without using his arms. By the fifth, he stood for a full 5 seconds, and Elena walked into the room and dropped her mug in shock. He laughed for the first time in months and reached out for her hand. "Elena," he whispered, "I think he's listening." Tears spilled down her cheeks as she covered her mouth and fell into his arms. They cried together for a long time. Weeks passed. Nathaniel didn't go back to boardrooms or meetings. He didn't care to. Instead, he went back to the park. Every morning he sat in the same place, same bench, same bottle beside him, waiting. But the boy never returned. Still, Nathaniel didn't stop. He started volunteering at a youth shelter just blocks from his building, a place he had passed 1,000 times but never once entered. The first day, a counselor told him, "We don't need your money, sir. We need your time." So he showed up. Day after day, he read to children, cleaned floors, fixed broken furniture with his own hands. Sometimes the kids stared at the slight limp he still carried. One even asked bluntly, "Why you walk like that, mister?" Nathaniel smiled. "Because I was given a second chance, and I walk slower now so I don't miss what matters." He created a program, Steps Forward, designed to help kids from broken homes find footing again. He gave them notebooks, shoes, medical checkups. He even built a tiny garden behind the shelter. The same kids who once cursed the sky were now planting seeds in the dirt. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low, Elena arrived with lunch. She looked radiant again, healthier, lighter, alive. They sat together under a tree, watching 2 little boys argue over a soccer ball. She smiled. "You know, I used to think you hated God." "I did," Nathaniel said, wrapping his arm around her, "because I thought he hated me first. But now—" He looked out at the children, at the garden, at the life that had bloomed from a single sip. "Now I know he never left. He was just waiting for me to stop looking at myself and start looking at others." She rested her head on his shoulder. "And the boy?" she asked softly. Nathaniel looked down at the glass bottle. He had kept it, washed it, sealed it tight. It stood on his nightstand like a lamp in the dark. "No one's seen him," he said. "I asked around. No one even remembers a kid in overalls walking that path." "Do you think he was?" "I don't know," Nathaniel whispered, "but I believe he came from somewhere good." That night they walked home together. Not rolled, walked. And in Nathaniel's chest, where bitterness once lived, there was only gratitude. He still didn't have all his fortune back. Some business partners never returned. But Elena was healthy. His heart was light. And when he looked in the mirror, he didn't see a man who lost everything. He saw a man who almost did and didn't. And every now and then, when he passed a child alone on the sidewalk or saw someone praying with tired eyes, he'd pause. He'd kneel, offer them a hand, and whisper, "Believe in him. Help someone. The rest will come." Just like the boy said. If this story moved you, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected stories like this. And tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? Your words keep us going. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.